Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Donald Trump might actually pardon Diddy. Yeah, you heard that right. The former president was recently asked about Sean Diddy Combs and whether he'd ever consider granting him a presidential pardon. His answer? It didn't close the door.
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening. And I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be.
In fact, it opened one, and it could change everything. During a recent interview, Trump was hit with a question no one saw coming. A simple yet explosive ask, would you ever consider pardoning Diddy? Trump paused, then dropped a response that set the internet ablaze. Nobody's asked, he said, but I know people are thinking about it. That one line ignited a storm online, especially in entertainment and legal circles, because when Trump hints at something, even vaguely, people take notice. Diddy is in serious legal heat. Over the past year, accusations have been rolling in one after another.
After lunch, Mia was back on the stand, and remember, prosecutors wanted her to be done today, but unfortunately, she will be back on the stand Monday. Once the jury was back in the courtroom, Brian Steele had them pass around a scrapbook Mia made for Diddy in 2014. He made that scrapbook after having a conversation with Diddy where he told her, I used to look at the world the way you did, implying that he had done it all and had everything. She said it was hard to get a birthday gift for someone who had a lot of money and thought he would really enjoy it. At the top of the scrapbook, she wrote, Puff, sometimes life goes by at a catastrophic speed. I hope on this day, I hope you can sit back and consider I made this book of articles from 1991 to now. Brian Steele asked her, how could you make something so kind for a man that ruined your life? And she said, it's called psychological abuse. There was no one around who flinched at his behavior. She also said that this wasn't a relationship, and Brian Steele said, but you were not in a relationship, and she reminded him that you don't have to be in a relationship for it
We're talking trafficking, abuse, and even links to a wider Hollywood conspiracy. Lawsuits stacking up, videos surfacing, alleged victims stepping forward. It's not just a case, it's chaos. And yet Diddy hasn't been convicted of anything. The legal battle is still unfolding. But his name, it's getting dragged through the dirt. Back to Trump. He said he hasn't talked to Diddy in years. They were cool back in the day.
Now that Trump pardoned Todd and Julie Chrisley, he was asked if he would pardon Diddy, and, well, he said he would consider it. So basically, he's going to look at the facts if Diddy, hopefully when Diddy is convicted guilty, and he's going to look into seeing if Diddy will get a pardon. He said he doesn't mind that Diddy did not support him when he ran for politics, but that doesn't change his mind whether or not you like him or not, that he'll do a pardon.
Diddy even liked Trump once, but everything changed when Trump entered politics. Trump said, he used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for office, the relationship broke off. Classic Trump, blunt, unfiltered, revealing. That tells us there was once mutual respect, maybe even friendship. And that matters because presidential pardons, they're about timing, power, and connections. Trump's history proves that he's pardoned rappers, businessmen, allies, and controversial names. Some were close to him, others just victims of what he saw as injustice. So does Diddy fall into that category? Trump said he hasn't followed the case closely, but admitted it's everywhere in the news. And that's facts. From FBI raids to viral clips to legal statements, it's a full-blown media frenzy. And Trump? He understands media better than anyone. Even if he hasn't seen every detail, he gets the narrative. He knows when someone's getting buried by headlines.
At a press conference today, President Donald Trump said that he would consider pardoning Sean Diddy Combs. Now, the comments about Diddy came from a press conference that was held earlier today in the Oval Office with Elon Musk present, and let me read to you verbatim what they said. Nobody asked, but I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I have been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up from what I've read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I read some little bit nasty statements. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me. Now, for a little bit of context and background here, Diddy's team started working on Trump's transition team and other members of the administration as soon as President Trump was elected. Now, they did go off to say that they have not spoken to President Trump himself about this, so this is the first time he's kind of speaking about it, which is probably what he means by, I think they're really close to asking for it. But they've been working trying to get him to pardon Diddy should this thing not go the way that they hope.
Trump also made it clear he'd consider the facts. He said that if someone's being mistreated, he'd step in, even if they don't like him. That's a bold take. It means loyalty isn't the deciding factor. Fairness is. Whether they like me or not, it wouldn't matter, Trump said, and that hits hard. Remember, he surprised everyone by pardoning Lil Wayne and commuting Kodak Black's sentence. He even talked about pardoning Joe Exotic. So would a Diddy pardon really be that wild? Not really, especially if Trump sees the case as another example of the system overreaching. As for Diddy, he's been mostly silent. His team's denying everything. But behind the curtain, there's panic. His brand is crashing. Business ties are breaking. Friends are backing away. That once massive empire built on music, fashion, and media is falling apart. And if it doesn't stop, Diddy might be looking at prison, or worse, total destruction of his legacy.
If he would pardon Diddy, Trump said that he would have to look into the specifics of the case, and no one has asked him yet, which leaves room for interpretation of if he will actually pardon Diddy.
Wow, the pressure is getting worse.
And while that notion may seem completely far-fetched, let's take a look at who he's pardoned so far. Todd and Julie Christie, who have tax fraud, money fraud, wire fraud, NBA YoungBoy gun possession charge, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich lying to an FBI officer, wire fraud, activation, Kodak Black, and Lil Wayne on weapons charges. So it's not far-fetched that Donald Trump would commute the sentence or pardon his once longtime buddy, as he says, Sean Diddy Combs, if he gets found guilty on this current trial. We live in a fucking simulation. Happy Friday.
But if Trump steps in with a pardon, the whole game changes instantly. Debate would explode, some would rage, others would cheer. But for Diddy, it'd be a lifeline, a second chance, a moment that pulls focus off the accusations and back onto redemption. Right now, it's just talk. Trump hasn't promised anything, but the fact he didn't say no speaks volumes. In politics, silence and hesitation say more than direct answers. When Trump said, "I know people are thinking about it," he was hinting at talks already happening behind closed doors. And that's how it begins. Whispers, then moves. Now picture this. Trump wins the 2024 election. He's back in office, making bold plays again. Then one day, he signs a document no one saw coming. A presidential pardon for Sean Diddy Combs. Overnight, Diddy goes from accused to pardoned. The media goes wild. Why Diddy? They'll ask. Some will say it's about race. Others, about fame. But maybe, just maybe, Trump saw something others missed. Maybe he believes the case is weak, or that Diddy's being unfairly targeted, or maybe it's about the American idea of redemption. Of course, this doesn't erase the allegations. The lawsuits remain. The victims still have their voices, but the power dynamic shifts. A pardon doesn't mean innocence. It means mercy. And Trump, he uses mercy with purpose. It's about control, image, and rewriting the narrative. The real question is, will Diddy make the ask? Because Trump said no one's asked him yet. But that could change. Diddy's got lawyers, he's got connections. If the storm keeps building, reaching out could be a strategic move, quietly. behind the scenes. And if Trump sees the right angle, he just might say yes. We've seen the pattern before. Controversy, scandal, backlash, and then, boom, a pardon. Trump thrives on the unexpected. And pardoning a fallen hip-hop mogul like Diddy, that would break the internet. And the timing couldn't be better. Diddy's drama is playing out as Trump ramps up his campaign. A pardon would be a power play. A way to say, I still run the show. I decide who gets another shot. Bottom line, no one knows how this ends. But one thing is clear, this isn't just about Diddy anymore. It's about politics, power, and media. Once again, Trump has inserted himself into a scandal, not by accident, but with intention. Because when he talks, the world watches. And now everyone's watching to see if he acts. Love him or hate him, Trump knows how to shift the spotlight. And Diddy, he's right in the middle. Maybe it's unfair, maybe it's karma, but either way, it's massive. And if Trump actually moves forward with that pardon, this whole story flips. So stay tuned, because the next move, it could change everything.